Okay, so for the finishing touches, we have to do a few branches and then we can start doing our leaves. So you're going to get some dark brown paint and then you're going to get 3 or 4 colors of your choice for these trees. Okay, they could be summer trees with green, they could be fall trees with yellow and orange and red, they could be funky trees with blue, green, and blue and whatever. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do is we're also going to be using Q-tips. You're going to need 4 or 5 Q-tips for this. We're going to start with this dark brown paint. This is going to be for our branches. Now we have to do this very carefully. Your branches take a light touch with the Q-tip, and they will start on the trunk of the tree, like so. And you're just going to kind of dab along until you run out of paint or you go off the paper. And tree branches are the letter Y over and over and over. And you just keep working them off the edges of the paper. They are usually bigger where they meet the tree, and then they get smaller as they go away. We are only going to do this in kind of towards the top of these branches. So again, you go right over the other tree and paper. I am just kind of touching this Q-tip to the paper. I'm kind of rotating it to make it lumpy as I paint. Just kind of cool. See, I'm twisting my fingers back and forth. I want these to get skinny as they get closer to the edges of the paper, because that's how branches grow. The older they are, the bigger they are, which means when they start at the trunk and they start growing, the older they get, the fatter they are here, but the new growth is usually real skinny. Okay? So we're just going to keep working our branches. Again, you don't have to go crazy with this. Probably like 4 branches per tree, maybe. You want them to try and go off the paper. And a lot of these branches will disappear underneath our other colors. See that? Okay, so you can make some come out from behind the tree if you want, like that. And I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty cool. Okay, again, I was doing a light touch. You don't want to use a lot of paint for this. You don't want to push the Q-tip onto the paper or anything like that. And again, I twisted while I was working. And I just kept making the letter Y. Now, that's it for this Q-tip. You can put it on a paper towel and put it aside. Okay, and our last step for this entire project is going to be done in pointillist style, which is where we make little circles or marks with the paint to create the image rather than actually brushing it out and all of that. Okay, so they're like dots. So you have 3 or 4 different colors, and you're going to kind of just begin to dab in little chunks of color. You're going right over top of the tree, but we are staying way up here on the paper, okay, where we did the branches. I'm going right over top of that wet brown paint. That's okay. I'm just going to keep working this. And you can kind of squash the Q-tip sometimes to make bigger marks and smaller marks. The nice thing is it's not a messy, you get paint all over yourself thing here if you do this right. Okay, and again, we are taking our colors right over the trunk of the tree. You can make some get a little bit lower, like low-hanging branches kind of thing. All right. Just going to keep building this color using these dots. And then you repeat the process with your other colors. It gives this nice illusion of the branches and the trees, or I'm sorry, the leaves up top. Again, you want to be pretty random with this. Right? Don't stay in one spot dabbing a whole bunch of times. Jump around. Because leaves grow kind of randomly. Don't bring them down too far towards the bottom, though. That'll look silly. Lots of tree trunk because of the way we're looking at the tree. And you are going to continue this until you think that you have done enough. Okay, I still have one more color to go. I'm going to keep these handy in case I want to add more of those two colors. And in my case, I got 4 colors, but I really think that I'm only going to need 3. The cool thing is as you go over the branches, it kind of looks like they're growing right off of those branches like they're supposed to. Even try 2 different colors towards the end. Again, we just don't want to cover the whole thing. Okay, you'll lose all your branches and it'll look kind of silly. And I am actually quite happy with the way that looks. And there you have it. That'll be the end of the lesson. It can go in the drying rack to dry. And you're done.